Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Michael Weir. I'm a technical marketing engineer focusing on cybersecurity here at Ingram Micro. I am here with a part 2 video to my CMMC CUI-centric security view, this time focusing on the vendor that originally gave me the idea for these videos, PKWARE. This is the agenda for today. First, we're going to talk about PKWARE's CUI-centric solution. We're going to talk a little bit about how they relate to NIST 800-171, which is, of course, the new CMMC Level 2 standard, and give a little conclusion at the end. So first, let's talk about PKWARE's CUI-centric solution. Now, in part 1 of this video, which was more vendor agnostic, I talked through this diagram of what consisted, or what a CUI-centric topology should consist of. That video is called a CUI-centric approach to CMMC network security. I invite you to go watch that to have an explainer as to what all of this actually means. But I want to talk about how PKWARE's solution fulfills that. And their solution is a 5-parter. You can see it's discovery, classification, masking, encryption, and privacy. We're going to talk about various of these in depth, not all of them because some of them are quite self-explanatory. But the first one I want to talk about is the classifying of data. So classification is based on the data contents within a file, and it can be many different kinds of file types. You know, you're seeing 2 Word documents, a PDF, and a text file there. They can even detect things on JPEGs, mixed media, however it is that you want to have it. Data classification is quite simply what it sounds like. It's classification based on the data contents within a file. Why do we do that? We do that because that is what the rest of the process is going to hinge on. Once we've classified it, then we have to do stuff with it. Next, we're going to talk about masking here. Masking, some people call it redacting, is taking out pieces of the data so that it's not usable or is I don't want to say wrong, like take a phone number and replace it with something that's the same number of digits, but isn't really a phone number, that kind of thing, just to make it so data and confidential CUI, that kind of thing, that someone is not supposed to see can't be seen by them. This is an example of masking. This is just an email here. You can see that I've set it to mask out certain pieces. We're detecting email addresses and masking them out. We're detecting social security numbers and masking them out. But we're leaving certain things visible. If it's an accounts payable, the payoff amount and the account number is still visible. So whoever is taking in this payment for me, they can see what they need to see and they don't see the other pieces. But data masking is a very complex thing because not everything is going to be nicely formatted like that social security number you see there. It's 4-2-4. That can be masked even if it's in different formats. So as you can see, we did digits only with spaces, credit card numbers being found, whether they're dashed or spaced or all put together. Even text in a hyperlinks is masked out. It's a comprehensive thing because data, in a perfect world, data would always be entered very regularly in the same format. But we're not in a perfect world. The human element is still a flaw in this whole system. So we have to have a system that's ready to mask the defects in data that will come from the human element. Also, conveniently with this data masking, is that the documents can get a data redaction flag. So you can say, hey, these are documents that data has been taken out of. This is one of those issues where people shouldn't be seeing the data, but they might need to know that something has been taken out of this, that the version I'm seeing isn't the full version. Of course, these are all things that are adjustable in the settings. You don't have to even have people know that these are redacted documents, but these are just some of the data operations you can do there. There's a ton of different ones, tons of different ways these go together. There's more features to the product than that. There's product versions made for data store, made for the endpoint, made for acting in all different capacities within your network, and come in hardware, software. There's a lot of varieties there. But I wanted to give these examples, number one, as describing PKWARE and what PKWARE can do, but number two, just to say, hey, these are the functions, if you're looking at another product, that product should be able to do. Let's talk about comparing it to NIST 800-171 a little bit, because that's our new CMMC Level 2. We're looking at certain requirements of this. So we're talking about requirement 3, access control. This is the who can access data, who can access what data, and what parts of what data that person can access. And for those who the answer would be, no, you can't access this person can't access this, or this person can't see that type. That's why we're encrypting or masking based on contents, file type, file location, users, or groups. Right? This is access control to data, something that PKWARE would do, or integrate with your IAM solution, that sort of thing. To give you an example of what's underneath that, 313 is control the flow of CUI in accordance with approved authorizations. 315 is employ the principle of least privilege. Those types of things. That's what's under the requirement 3 of access control, 3.1 of access control, and some ways PKWARE is going to help with that. Next one we would look at is 3.8 media protection. This is the discovery and classification of data. That's pretty obvious. We said those exact words earlier. Encrypting or masking data at creation, in motion, at rest. PKWARE can do all three of those. If you're looking at a product, perform these functions, you need to make sure it's doing all three of those. It's not just at rest. It's also on creation and in motion that encryption stays on. We have visual and metadata marketing and central key management. I didn't bring it up, but there is central key management in the PKWARE product. This goes back to the similar things of access control, like 382 is limit access to CUI and systems media. 384 is marking the media with CUI markings and designations. Of course, you're implementing cryptographic methods underneath this kind of thing, and of course, protecting confidentiality and backups too. We also want to talk about 313 a little bit here, your systems and communications protection. As we said under 3.8, you're looking for a product, PKWARE or anybody else, that encrypts or masks data at creation, in motion, and at rest. And of course, it has some central cryptographic key management. One of the things underneath this is that 3.13.10 is establish and manage cryptographic keys for cryptography employed in organizational systems. What this means is you have to have, or one of the things that plays into this is you have to have a solution whose cryptography is verified FIPS 140-2. And I shouldn't say verified, I should say it's either certified or is a certified implementation or a validated module. So these brands that say they're compliant, compliance is kind of a meaningless word. You want to actually go to the NIST site and look up, is this a validated module or does this have a certification? PKWARE's key storage is FIPS 140-2 level 3. So that'll satisfy that. Like I said, just any product you're looking at, make sure it has that on there. So a little conclusion here. To put these things all together between the last video and this video, CMMC is at its root a data standard. CUI-centric security is more appropriate for CMMC than necessarily an edge-based security is. PKWARE provides essential first steps in securing data for CMMC. Now, as I've said a few times with this video, PKWARE gave me the ideas for these concepts, so I want to give them credit and give them the representation in this video. But any product that you're looking at for these purposes, the same functions you see in PKWARE, you should make sure it can do those same functions in what it is you're looking at. Once again, we're just trying to get you to think about your products here and plan out your environment. If you need any help with that, here's some contacts for you. Ingram Micro has a cybersecurity playbook. You can look through to see the latest tech trends, blogs, that kind of thing. We also have a cybersecurity tech force. These are thought leaders and specialists out there specifically to help you. And in that tech force, I am the framework specialist, michael.weir@ingrammicro.com. Feel free to email me and we can get something started for your environment or for your MSP practice. Thank you very much, and remember, realize the promise of technology.